Good day, everyone. My name is Hakim Farrell. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about how to automate phishing detection and remediation for Office 365. Joining me is Pramukh from the Cortex XSOAR team in product management. So why do you want to automate phishing detection? Phishing is a growing problem that has significantly outpaced malware. As a result, submissions to abuse inbox is a growing problem as well. Incident responders are overwhelmed by the number of phishing submissions that they have to review on a daily basis. Many of these submissions are actually false positives that require manual review. And reviewing a false positive is extremely time-consuming to only determine that it is indeed a false positive. So automation will really save an organization a lot of time. It will significantly reduce their operational costs, and it will speed up the ability to close incidents very quickly. Now, I will take you through what SlashNext actually does with URL analysis. Powering our URL analysis engine is the SlashNext SOAR threat detection technology. The advantages of using SlashNext SOAR is its runtime analysis. During runtime, we're actually using virtual browsers that will perform machine learning, computer vision. It will compare the brand logo and name. It will look for known brand references and much more. It will also have the ability to overcome evasion tactics, such as when a website actually loads a CAPTCHA before it takes you to the final destination. And performing this type of SOAR analysis will greatly improve its productivity due to SOAR's accuracy in detecting whether or not a URL is malicious or benign. We have the ability to detect multiple types of payloads, from scareware to fake login pages, as well as rogue browser extensions. Now, I will hand it over to Pramukh.
Thanks, Hakim. Good morning, all. Just to benefit those who are new to the concept of SOAR, SOAR stands for Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response. These are the platforms that really focus on three areas, namely orchestration, automation, and response. So what is orchestration? Orchestration is really the ability to control and activate the entire security product stack from a central location. This is a very powerful niche new capability made available by virtue of the APIs that were actually brought into the industry a decade ago. So orchestration really in the SOAR context is made available with the help of playbooks, which are also known as runbooks or workflows, which are nothing but the logically organized plan of action. Automation is a logical subset of orchestration. And this consists of automated scripts, which most of the security teams today use anyways from an incident response perspectives. And these automation scripts are, by virtue of the extensible product integrations, the SOAR platforms make it available by working with different security product vendors. And the core benefit of bringing automation and orchestration is really the ability to execute the playbook tasks at machine speed. Lastly, the third focus area of SOAR platforms is the response, which is really to gain oversight along the way, all the way from the incident response initiation all the way to closure. So case management becomes a core component of it, because case is the core central pillar which captures all the incident context coming into the SOAR platforms from the alert generation sources. Analysis and reporting is built on top of the case management because most of the artifacts and values are actually readily available in the case and are pulled and brought to the different audience. Collaboration and communication is a key missing piece which gets unnoticed, and SOAR platforms have actually brought the core collaboration and communication capability into the platform itself. So what is Cortex XSOAR? So Cortex XSOAR is the industry's leading extended security orchestration automation response platform that has 4 key pillars of automation and orchestration: real-time collaboration, case management, and threat intel management. So orchestration and automation has been made available by working with multiple different vendors, and XSOAR today has more than around 400 integrations readily available out of the box, because we got a good head start of working with almost all the security vendors across the security product categories. And we have a number of playbooks built in and made it available out of the box that spans across different scenarios and use cases. Second core pillar is the real-time collaboration. So XSOAR has a built-in ChatOps capability, which is built right into the platform that also doubles up as a very powerful command line interface, which we'll see in the demo. So this collaboration is really powerful in the sense it brings together all the different security teams, be it network security, vulnerability management, cloud security, DevOps, all the different team members, when they actually collaborate to go on addressing an incident from the incident response perspective, all those communication and the artifacts exchanged are readily made available in this war room capability that the XSOAR platform has. And all of this is happening at the real time. The third core pillar is the case management. So XSOAR also has a powerful ticketing system available. And the power is really driven by the very flexible widgets, which are extremely modular in nature, meaning that security teams can actually get all the artifacts that are ingested into the XSOAR platform and can have it readily available in the case management functionality to view the way they actually want. It's extremely customizable. The last core component is the threat intel management. This is really a revolutionary approach XSOAR is actually bringing to the industry to capture all the threat intel feeds, be it open source, paid, or even custom threat intel feeds that threat intel teams have into the XSOAR platform. And it's actually a way also to close the loop and the gap between the SecOps and the threat intel teams. Most of the threat intel artifacts are actually today captured in different documents. There's a big gap in terms of when it comes to closing an investigation. So XSOAR also provides this rich capability of bringing SLA, enforcing SLA, and this ability to bring all these teams together, including the threat intel and the SecOps, is really one of the key capabilities of the XSOAR platform. So this is just a slide that actually explains the rich Cortex XSOAR ecosystem. We have partnerships with almost all the leading security product categories, including SIEM, threat intel, malware and phishing analysis, endpoint, network security, authentication. And also it goes beyond security, including ticketing, messaging, cloud and DevSecOps teams products as well. So all of these integrations are readily available in the XSOAR platform. It's almost a plug and play capability. The security teams just need to bring their API and credentials and configure, and they should be good to go using these different products as well, all from a single XSOAR platform. So XSOAR really opens doors to almost all the security use cases that we see in the industry. Phishing, of course, is the top scenario, but also XSOAR is readily used by customers across SecOps, incident management, operational technology, security, cloud security, vulnerability management, threat hunting, and also beyond the normal security use cases goes to the IT operation use cases as well. And as you see on the left-hand side, you have alert generation categories, and on the right-hand side, you have the enrich and response categories. So the power here is really driven by the bidirectional rich API integration that XSOAR has. And this really makes it readily available for security teams to pick and choose their use cases of choice by referring to the playbooks that we already ship out of the box. Over to you, Hakim.
Okay, thanks, Pramuk. So now we're going to take you through an overview of the workflow we're going to demo today. So an email will first come into a abuse inbox. The Cortex XSOAR platform will ingest that submission from a user. It will then extract all of the URLs from that email using one of the playbook actions. It will deduplicate. At first, we've curated the playbook to check a whitelist for each of those URLs. And then we're going to leverage our SlashNext technology to determine whether or not that URL is malicious. And when that API call is made, it's actually going to perform that runtime analysis that I mentioned earlier, using virtual browsers and using all of the technologies to determine whether or not it's malicious. Once that response is returned with a verdict and additional forensics, we're going to store that indicator. And then we're going to take it a step further. We're actually going to take that malicious URL, once it's determined to be malicious, to search Office 365 to see what other recipients in an organization received an email also containing that URL. We will also show you how to download the full scan report from the SlashNext environment, download the screenshot of the actual phishing page that the URL was sending the users to, perform the analyst review, generate the summary, send out a report to all of the stakeholders, and then close it off. So this is what we're going to demo for you today. Back to you, Pramuk.
All right. Thanks, Hakeem. So let's go and take a look at the integration in action. All right, so I'm on the Cortex XSOAR integrations page. So as you see, we have integrations across different product categories, and it's really very intuitive and easy for the analyst to search for the SlashNext integration on the search bar. The integration itself, as I mentioned, is built in out of the box, made it available. All the security team needs is to actually plug in their API and the base URL and actually test for success. So the integration with SlashNext Phishing Incident Forensics is really powerful in the sense we have a number of commands readily available. So we can actually conduct domain and IP reputation. We can also check the API quota, which is very interesting because we can actually keep a tab on how many APIs you're consuming. Download an HTML against a previous URL scanner request. You can also get the screenshot and the text of the web page against the phishing URL. And as well as there are a whole number of other commands that can be put to use readily from either the built-in command line interface. So as you see here, all the SlashNext command by virtue of this integration is readily available here. And for the forensics teams, it really becomes very handy because they can, on an ad hoc basis, leverage these URLs and conduct operations. As well as teams can actually go ahead and customize this integration if they have bandwidth, but I think most of the integrations that are required for phishing forensics is readily available out of the box. So now let's go ahead and take a look at a real life example of a phishing email and how can actually Cortex XSOAR users can actually leverage SlashNext Phishing Incident Forensics and vice versa to get value. And the value is really to be able to automatically respond in a way the organization's standard operating procedures dictate, and also within the SLA. So as you see here, we have an alert coming into XSOAR, and let's go ahead and click on this alert, which is essentially a mail listener configured in XSOAR. It is actually ingesting readily the phishing email, and the phishing email body itself is captured here, and the URL is located right here, and it's already underlined in red, which means that it is of bad reputation. So as you see, SlashNext actually has captured it, and it's actually already told XSOAR that it is the URL is indeed bad. So let's jump to the work plan section. So work plan is a place where the playbook that has already been configured has run and actually has closed the incident investigation process as well. So let's go ahead and walk through each of the tasks of what exactly has happened. So there was a phishing email, and which the employee has actually pushed to the abuse mailbox. And once the email has got ingested, Cortex XSOAR has actually performed a number of tasks as part of this playbook. So first and foremost, it's actually checking if the email has any URLs, which in this case, yes, it is. And it's also performing some of the other checks, whether there are any file attachments. It has also rasterized the body of the email so that you don't have to actually go ahead and click on the email or a URL. You can actually read it right from within this page. Next, the task over here. So each of this rectangular task is a manual action today, but as you see here, the action has already automatically executed. So investigating the URL in SlashNext has actually resulted in getting rich forensic information into XSOAR. And we have also actually marked this as note and an evidence. So here you have the size information, all the hash information, SSTP information, as well as the file itself, which you could actually download from here for forensics purpose. So post that, there is another task which is actually checking the reputation, whether the URL is malicious or not. So as you saw on the summary page itself, it's already been judged as malicious. So yes, and it actually progresses to set the incident severity to actually high because it's malicious. So you can actually change the severity based on certain pre-configured conditions. And that's a very powerful capability because most of the high severity incidents need not be high severity, and it ends up consuming resources unnecessarily working on high severity use cases. But in this case, the URL is malicious. So one of the core functionalities, again, the power of orchestration in its play here. Cortex XSOAR also has rich integration with Office 365 mailbox. So the task here, what it has done is it has actually taken the URL and it has checked in the Office 365 mailbox whether there were any other emails with the same URL. So as you see here, there were indeed the same URL in several other emails which were sent to different employees as well. So you could actually go here and you can use Cortex XSOAR utility commands to actually print the name of the employees which were actually, who also received the same URL in probably similar emails. And there's another alternate workflow here, parallel workflow here, and you could have many more workflows. So over here, what's happening is we are fetching the scan report from the SlashNext. So if we scroll all the way down here, it has actually brought a lot of information. And Hakim, do you want to add anything here from a SlashNext perspective? What information we have?
Yes, thanks. So with some of the additional forensics that we've captured here, it will include things like threat name, threat type. When have we first seen it, or did we actually see it for the very first time when it was submitted for scanning? If we've seen it for the very first time when it was submitted for scanning, obviously the timestamp will show that it was first seen when we actually loaded a virtual browser. Some of the additional things that you can export from here is also things like a host report, which will include additional things like if the URL redirected multiple times, not only will it show you the final malicious URL, but it will also show you what was the original URL that it redirected from, allowing you to then leverage that to also search the Office 365 mailbox to see if any other users have received a similar email.
Perfect. Thanks, Captain. So the next task here has also downloaded the screenshot here. And as you see, this is again a very impressive capability because the teams can actually view the screenshot of the actual web page that would have been actually redirected, the URL redirected. And then just to close, you could actually have a manual action here, response action, in the sense you could have a team lead review all the activities. The playbook will pause till the analyst approves. So that's a very powerful capability to bring in all your manual response actions and procedures based on the best practices followed in your organization. And lastly, there is a capability of generating investigation summary report. And the summary report can actually be downloaded ready from the playbook itself, or actually be emailed to the relevant stakeholders once this investigation has been completed. So This actually closes the loop from all the way from incident generation and /next, in the email and ingestion into XSOAR all the way to completion within the standard SLA process. And let's also go over and take a look at other sections of Cortex XSOAR investigation. So this is the case management functionality, where you also have all the case information, the notes which were actually generated automatically, the evidence information right here, the indicators of compromise that you could see here, as well as you have an ability to jump directly to this URL's full page view, which is the power of the threat intel core functionality that we are introducing. And over here, you can actually see this URL is still active on this day. It is bad, judged by DBOT, which is the machine learning algorithm. You have all the related incidents. You have complete timeline information of when this incident was actually URL was cited, all the way to the most up-to-date information. And you also have the other data sources actually working on actively on the same URL. And last but not the least, there is a powerful visual correlation capability, which will actually let the analyst readily view for this incident, which was generated by virtue of this malicious email ingestion. What are the other indicators actually are related to this specific incident? So because you have a new active malicious URL, you have all these domains actually linked, and the analysts don't have to do much here because they can just go ahead and click on this auto populate. It populates here, and this is really a very powerful visual correlation capability which can actually help the analyst take a look and make better sense of the overall threat landscape apart from just the email ingested. So you can also push it into the war room. So war room is the capability where all the output of the playbook are automatically documented. And you also have a rich, powerful capability of filtering and searching here. And this also helps in chronological view of all the retrospective analysis to view what actually happened. And again, we have other capabilities of creating, customizing your own dashboard. So this is just a simple dashboard that I have created. And again, this is an advanced feature, but just wanted to let the audience know that we have this capability of bringing, your own features here, like in this case, creating a button which can download HTML file using on the /next. You can scan report, and all of this is actually will be visible in the war room. And that's again a good capability because most of the security teams don't have much time, so they can actually use these readily to go and view the output by click of a button. So that's really kind of revolutionary. So what I also wanted to say, so let's move ahead with the slide, that the core benefit of having this integration is really threefold. Firstly, analysts can actually standardize and scale processes. Different analysts have different ways of approaches to remediate incidents, but this actually brings a standardization. And when you have standardization, it's very easy for you to scale. So when I say scale, you could have 50 of such malicious emails getting readily ingested. And the teams are really kind of challenged when it comes to adhering to the SLA. So this integration and Cortex XSOAR's playbook really standardizes and scales across the incidents, all the 50 incidents in this case. And these are some of the stats. Some of the customers, they could reduce from 10,000 to 500 by using Cortex XSOAR. And then you also have this low response times with automation, which is very straightforward. You could actually save a lot of time. You can actually have this playbooks replace repetitive actions and have the time given back to analysts for further research purposes. So the response times based on a recent survey were actually reduced from 3 days just to under 25 minutes. And then lastly, you can actually improve the security posture with multi-payload detection. And do you want to actually add something, Hack, here for the multi-payload detection?
Yeah, so the multi-payload detection is really around SlashNext going beyond simply detecting fake login pages. So in that API call, we will also be able to detect scareware. We'll also be able to detect rogue browser extensions. So it goes far beyond detecting only fake login pages. So thank you everyone for attending today. I see we have a few questions in the chat. And one of the questions that we received is, how is SlashNext different from other incident response sources that also provide phishing intelligence and forensics? And there's a few ways SlashNext is different. So one of the things that certainly set us apart is the fact that we are actually performing runtime analysis live after that API call is made. So we're actually loading virtual browsers. We're doing natural language processing, OCR processing on the page, image recognition on the page. We're actually interacting with the phishing page that is loaded in our virtual browsers. Secondly, or high level of accuracy. So we are able to highly detect a lot of phishing pages, but we're also able to minimize the number of false positives that are generated. And the way we're able to do that is we have massive amounts of data, which has created clusters of malicious pages as well as benign pages, because we are preemptively sourcing data as well. I see we have a second question in here on Cortex XSOAR. Pramod, this one's for you. Does Cortex XSOAR have out-of-the-box integration with Microsoft GraphMail, and can Cortex XSOAR's SlashNext integration be used to orchestrate response actions on Microsoft GraphMail?
Absolutely. So the answer is yes, we do have good integration with all the Microsoft Graph different services. So Microsoft GraphMail is definitely the powerful integration that stands out for the phishing response use cases. And one other comment that I wanted to add here is by virtue of this Microsoft GraphMail integration, we can actually get complete properties of the email return. So this would actually help help analysts in resolving and remediating phishing response use cases, because in a way which you can actually do it much better than the Office 365, because you can actually get the information to the context of whether the recipient of the email ended up forwarding that phishing email to someone else, or whether the recipient of the email even opened that email from their inbox. So this is again an advanced information, additional context, much better when it comes to remediating the incidents to the best of their capabilities.
Thank you. So we have quite a few more questions. We'll try to get to as many of it as we can. One other question that we received is, how does the deployment look for MSPs? Also guessing the requirement to use SlashNext is to have Cortex. Please share more details on licensing. So SlashNext URL analysis and enrichment is agnostic to the SOAR platform that you're using. So we have integrations into many SOAR platforms. What we've demonstrated today is the core strength that Cortex brings to the extensive forensics that SlashNext is able to return with the Microsoft Graph API integration. Another thing to mention is if you don't have a SOAR, you could also leverage or API supporting the same actions using Python scripts. So you don't necessarily need to have a SOAR platform to receive and run some of the actions like a URL scan, a host scan report, download screenshots that actually could be done by a Python script. And yes, there is definitely a strong use case for MSPs. And thank you for that question. One other question that we have is, will this slow down the delivery of all emails, including legitimate ones, to my users? No, it will not. This is all based on how you would integrate and implement the playbook. So this scanning and submission will be happening post-delivery. So emails will be delivered to the users, and then they would submit it to an abuse inbox where we would scan it, return the additional forensics. But also, you could perform a quick host lookup in line which will be milliseconds in terms of getting a response, and then doing the full URL scan in a secondary step. Please reach out to us, and we can certainly have a discussion further on that, but it will not inhibit your ability for the users to receive emails.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add here that even the playbooks are actually executed on the machine speed. So we have tested the integration thoroughly on our end, and the playbooks also has a purpose-built task which will actually wait for the investigation and the report to be received from SlashNext. And most of the playbook tasks actually execute on the machine speed itself.
Thank you. So I think we are at the top of the hour. Apologies we weren't able to get to all of your questions, but certainly please reach out to us. I think I saw some great additional questions in the chat, and we will be happy to have a further discussion on those as well.
Yep, and definitely I encourage to download the free Cortex XSOAR Community Edition, because the SlashNext integration is built into it out of the box. So you can actually get started trying out if you actually have SlashNext today. So you can actually try out the integration in XSOAR. Thank you so much.